Welcome to English literature class, my dear students of class 12th. We are at page number 103, second last paragraph. As you know, the chapter The Sound Machine is going on. So now let's start. It isn't complicated. The machine was not complicated. Say, I wish to listen to the squeak of a bat. I wish to listen to the squeak of a bat. That's a fairly high pitched sound, about 30,000 vibrations a second. The average human ear can't quite hear it. Now, if there were a bat flying around this room and I tuned into 30,000 on my machine, I would hear the squeaking of that bat very clearly. I would even hear the correct note. Don't you understand? The doctor looked at the long black coffin box. And you are going to try it tonight. You are going to try this experiment tonight? Yes, he said. Well, I wish you luck. I wish you best of luck. He glanced at his watch. The doctor glanced at his watch. My goodness, he said, I must fly. I must go as soon as possible. Goodbye and thank you for telling me. I must call again sometime and find out what happened. The doctor went out and closed the door behind him. The doctor said that when I will pass through this way, I will come and will ask you what happened to your experiment. For a while longer, Klausner fussed, paid too much attention with the wires in the black box. Then he straightened up in a soft, excited whisper, said, Now we will try again. We will take it out into the garden this time. That machine was taken out in the garden, and then perhaps the receiving will be better, he thought. He carried the box to the door and found that he couldn't open the door without putting it down, carried it back, put it into the bench, opened the door, and then carried it with some difficulty into the garden. The box was too heavy to carry to the garden. He placed the box carefully on a small wooden table that stood on the lawn. He returned to the shed and fetched a pair of earphones. He plugged the wire connections from the earphones into the machine and put the earphones over his ears. The movement of his hands were quick and precise, quick and accurate. He was excited and breathed loudly as quickly through his mouth. He kept on talking to himself with little words of comfort and encouragement, as though he were afraid that the machine might not work, and afraid also of what might happen if it did. In both cases he was afraid. Afraid that the machine might not work, and afraid also of what might happen if it did. He stood there in the garden beside the wooden table, so pale, small, and thin that he looked like an ancient, consumptive, bespectacled child. Consumption was a disease of lungs. As he was suffering from, he was weak, very lean and thin, became very lean and thin, like an ancient and old patient of lungs wearing spectacles child. The sun had gone down. There was no wind, no sound at all. From where he stood, he could see over a low fence into the next garden, and there was a woman walking down the garden with a flower basket on her arm. He watched her for a while without thinking about her at all. Then he turned the box on the table and pressed a switch on its front. He put his left hand on the volume control and his right hand on the knob that moved a needle across a large central dial, like the wavelength dial of a radio. The dial was marked with many numbers in a series of bands starting at 15,000 and going up to 10 lakh. And now he was bending forward over the machine. His head was cocked. Cocked means raised at the vertical angle. To one side in tense listening attitude, listening position of the body. His right hand was beginning to turn the knob. The needle was traveling slowly across the dial, so slowly he could hardly see it move, and in the earphones he could hear a faint spasmodic crackling. Spasmodic means happening suddenly at sharp intervals, and crackling means a series of sharp sounds. Behind this crackling sound, he could hear a distant humming tone, which was the noise of the machine itself. But that was all. As he listened, he became conscious of a curious sensation, a feeling that his ears were stretching out away from his head, that each ear was connected to his head by a thin, stiff wire, hard wire, like a tentacle. Like a tentacle. Tentacle means a long, thin body part of some creatures. And that the wires were lengthening, that the ears were going up and toward a secret and forbidden territory. Secret and forbidden territory, a dangerous ultrasonic region where ears had never been before and had no right to be. The little needle crept slowly across the dial, and suddenly he heard a shriek, a frightful, piercing shriek, and he jumped and dropped his hands, catching hold of the edge of the table. He stared around him as if expecting to see the person who had shrieked. He thought that some person has shrieked it. There was no one there in sight except the woman in the garden next door, and it was certainly not she. The shriek did not come from that woman. She was bending down, cutting yellow roses and putting them in her basket. Again it came, a throatless, inhuman shriek, sharp and short, very clear and cold. The note itself possessed a minor metallic quality that he had never heard before. Klausner looked around him, searching instinctively. Instinctively means behaving on the basis of feeling, searching instinctively for the source of the noise. The woman next door was the only living thing in sight. He saw her reach down, take a rose stem in the fingers of one hand and cut something with scissors. Snip the stem with a pair of scissors. Again he heard the scream. It came at the exact moment when the rose stem was cut. At this point, the woman straightened up, put the scissors in the basket with the roses and turned to walk away. "Mrs. Saunders!" Klausner shouted, his voice shrill with excitement, as he thought that his experiment is fully successful. So he was full of excitement. "Oh, Mrs. Saunders!" And looking around, the woman saw her neighbor standing on his lawn, a fantastic arm waving little person with a pair of earphones on his head, calling to her in a voice so high and loud that she became alarmed. He called her so loudly that the lady, Mrs. Saunders, became alarmed. Cut another one, please cut another one quickly. She stood still, staring at him. Why, Mr. Klausner, she said, what's the matter? Please do as I ask, he said. Cut just one more rose. And what happened after, as she cut the stem of the rose, what happened, you will study in my next video. Thank you so much, students.